There's nothing in professional sports quite like a vicious knockout. It's invigorating for some and gruesome for others, but it always elicits a genuine emotional response. The UFC has fielded no shortage of reactions over the first 6 months of 2023. From Israel Adesanya's one-punch knockout of Alex Pereira to Diego Ferreira's powerful overhand right punch knockout of Michael Johnson, there have been some truly jaw-dropping knockouts in 2023. In this video, we'll take a look at the top 20 craziest knockouts of the year so far. So whether you're a fan of MMA, kickboxing, or just knockouts in general, this video's for you. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. 20. Umar Nurmagomedov vs. Riony Barcelos. On January 14, 2023, Umar Nurmagomedov scored a stunning knockout of Riony Barcelos in the first round of their UFC Fight Night 217 main event. The undefeated Russian fighter had never previously knocked out an opponent in his 15 professional fights, but he caught Barcelos with a short left hand while he was off balance, sending him to the canvas unconscious. The knockout was so unexpected that even Nurmagomedov himself was surprised. The undefeated fighter whiffed on a step-in knee, but caught Barcelos with a short left hand while Nurmagomedov was on one foot. The sneaky blow immediately shut the lights off, and it has since been widely praised as a contender for Knockout of the Year. Number 19. Johnny Walker vs. Paul Craig. Nurmagomedov isn't the only fighter who scored a big shot on one foot. Just 1 week after Umar Nurmagomedov scored a stunning knockout of Riony Barcelos, Johnny Walker put on a show of his own at UFC 283. During the fight, Walker caught Paul Craig with a vicious kick, but Craig was able to catch it. However, Walker was undeterred and continued to attack, landing a barrage of punches and back fists that dropped Craig to the canvas. Walker continued to rain down devastating punches, and the referee stepped in to stop the fight as Craig was unable to defend himself. Number 18. Dan Ige vs. Damon Jackson. Dan Ige is a powerful striker who earned his nickname 50K for his ability to knock out opponents with a single punch. In his fight against Damon Jackson, Ige delivered a vicious left hook that instantly dropped Jackson to the canvas. The knockout was so powerful that no follow-up shots were necessary. Jackson crumbled to the ground, his heels facing out and his knees twisting in. Fortunately, he was able to leave the octagon under his own power. Number 17. Bruno Ferreira vs. Gregory Rodriguez. Rodriguez had warmed himself to the UFC fan base with knockout power that matched his indomitable spirit. He had scored stoppage victories over Chidi Jaquani and Julian Marquez and was seen as a rising star in the middleweight division. However, his winning streak came to an end at UFC 283. During the bout, Rodriguez left himself open while pressing the action and ate a big shot from Ferreira at the UFC 283 that separated him from consciousness. It was a nasty punch that improved Ferreira to 10-0 and crowned him as a winning UFC fighter. Number 16. Ismael Bonfim vs. Terrence McKinney. Ismael Bonfim was expected to do well in his UFC debut after a successful run on the Contender Series and the regional circuit. However, he faced a tough opponent in Terrence McKinney. The fight was not particularly competitive, as Bonfim dominated McKinney from start to finish. In round 2, Bonfim punched out McKinney's mouthpiece before launching a vicious double flying knee that switched off and face-planted McKinney. Number 15. Rinya Nakamura vs. Toshiomi Kazama. In mixed martial arts, it's common for fighters to stand in the pocket and trade punches. This can be a risky strategy, as it leaves both fighters open to being knocked out. However, it can also be very effective, as it allows fighters to land powerful punches. In the case of Rinya Nakamura and Toshiomi Kazama, this strategy paid off for Nakamura. Just 30 seconds into the fight, Nakamura landed a devastating left hook that knocked Kazama out cold. The victory cemented Nakamura as the winner of the Bantamweight Road to UFC series and earned him a UFC contract. Number 14. Justin Tafa vs. Parker Porter. Justin Tafa knocked out Parker Porter in just 66 seconds with a counter right hook and left uppercut. Tafa's fellow Australian residents erupted into cheers as Porter was sent flying across the octagon. Tafa then emulated his fellow New Zealand-born heavyweight Mark Hunt by walking away from Porter without landing any follow-up shots. The knockout was a painful lesson for Porter about why you don't step into range with your hands down. Number 13. Philip Lins vs. Ovince St. Preux. It took Lins less than 1 minute to send St. Preux packing. Lins cracked OSP with a big left straight approximately 20 seconds into the opening frame and never took his foot off the gas. St. Preux was visibly impacted by that shot, and that gave Lins all the confidence he needed to pursue the finish. Lins chased St. Preux around the octagon, landing looping hooks and uppercuts. It was an especially long left hand that dropped St. Preux and a follow-up shot that sealed the deal. Number 12, Jordan Leavitt versus Victor Martinez. Leavitt was looking to make a statement after his recent loss to Paddy Pimblett, and he did just that in his fight against Victor Martinez. Leavitt scored his second career knockout, and first via strikes, in impressive fashion. He hurt Martinez with a push kick to the body, secured the clinch, and then punished him with knees and elbows to the head and body. Martinez was unable to withstand the onslaught and fell against the fence. It was a great rebound victory for Leavitt. Number 11, MarcAndre Barrio versus Julian Marquez. Barrio bounced back from a tough first round and made Marquez pay for his early success. During the early rounds of the fight, Marquez looked sharper than usual, landing more frequently and with better accuracy than his Canadian foe. His efforts did not persist through 2 rounds, however. Marquez was visibly fatigued in round 2, and Barrio, living up to his power bar nickname, maintained steady output. Barrio backed Marquez to the fence and unleashed a staggering number of strikes. Referee Mark Smith was content to let Marquez absorb blow after blow despite Marquez losing his mouthpiece, repeatedly shelling up and turning away. The total strike count in round 2 was 95-35 in Barrio's favor before the fight was mercifully waved off. Before meeting our top 10 in this list, let us know your thoughts. You agree with this list? If not, tell us which fight is missing down in the comments. And if you're enjoying this video, be sure to leave a like, and also don't forget to subscribe or to press the bell icon so as not to miss any of our upcoming videos. Without further ado, let's continue. Number 10, Ian Garry versus Song Keenan. Garry is the goods. The Irish fighter bounced back after being knocked down in the opening round and took the fight to his opponent. In the closing exchange, Garry looked so slick, backing up Song to the fence and cracking him with a step-in knee. He then followed up with 2 hard shots to the body, leaned back to dodge the counterstrike, and blitzed his foe for the late third-round finish. Garry improved to 11-0, and Song left with all sorts of abrasions, bruises, and swelling. Number 9, Dricus du Plessis versus Derek Brunson. On March 14th, Brunson rolled back his planned retirement, and it ended very poorly for the perennial contender. Brunson fought quite well in round 1 against a physically imposing opponent 10 years his junior. Unfortunately for Brunson, he could not sustain the output and started to weather in round 2. Du Plessis poured on the offense for most of the round before dropping Brunson in the final 30 seconds. Du Plessis then went to work with the ground and pound. Brunson's corner should be applauded for throwing in the towel, but the damage was already done. It marked the second time in 2023 that a fight on this list ended at the 4:59 mark of a round. Number 8, Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. Kevin Holland proved to be a dangerous fighter to stand and trade with. He proved this at UFC 287 when he knocked out Santiago Ponzinibbio in the 3rd round. Throughout the round, Holland was the better fighter, as evidenced by his ability to knock Ponzinibbio down in the opening round. In the final round, Holland landed a powerful left hook that knocked Ponzinibbio to the ground. The referee stopped the fight after 1 follow-up shot. Number 7, Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. After 4 attempts in 2 different sports, Israel Adesanya finally defeated Alex Pereira to reclaim his UFC middleweight championship. In the main event of UFC 287, Adesanya knocked Pereira out in the 2nd round with a vicious combination of punches that dropped the defending champion. A follow-up shot on the ground sealed the victory for Adesanya, who had previously lost to Pereira twice in kickboxing. The victory was a major redemption for Adesanya, who had been haunted by Pereira's 2 previous victories. With the win, Adesanya reasserted himself as the top middleweight in the world and proved that he is still one of the most dominant fighters in the UFC. Number 6, Brandon Royval versus Matheus Nicolau. Royval was frustrated that his flyweight fight against Matheus Nicolau was placed on the prelims, despite the fact that both fighters were top contenders in the division. Royval had a history of exciting fights, and he felt that he deserved a better spot on the card. However, he channeled his frustration into a dominant performance, knocking out Nicolau with a knee and punches in the 1st round. Royval then followed up with ground and pound to secure the stoppage. Number 5, Edson Barboza versus Billy Quarantillo. Barboza still has it. 11 years after scoring one of the most iconic KOs in UFC history, a spinning wheel kick KO of Terry Edom, Barboza continues to separate foes from consciousness. During his fight with Billy Quarantillo, Quarantillo made a concentrated effort to crowd Barboza to neutralize his notoriously dangerous strikes. Quarantillo returned to the well one too many times, and Barboza capitalized with an emphatic counter knee that instantly dropped Quarantillo. Barboza turned back the clock, maintained his spot in the featherweight pecking order, and silenced those who said he was too long in the tooth. Number 4. Yan Xiaonan vs. Jessica Andrade. Xiaonan punched her ticket to title contention at UFC 288 by dusting off a former strawweight champion in short order. During the bout, Andrade executed the worst game plan possible, recklessly entering range with her opponent. Xiaonan uncorked a big punch that dropped Andrade for a KO win less than halfway into the first round. Number 3. Matt Brown vs. Court McGee. There may not be a fighter that embodies their nickname more authentically than the immortal Matt Brown. The 42-year-old entered his 43rd professional fight against McGee in Charlotte. During the bout, Brown was falling behind in the opening round but changed his fortunes with one perfect punch. Brown slipped off the center line, dodging McGee's punch and delivering a one-hitter quitter, putting his opponent to sleep. Number 2. Ian Machado Gary Daniel Rodriguez. 2 months on from Gary's knockout destruction of Song Keenan, the burgeoning Irish fighter passed his toughest test with flying colors, finishing an ultra-tough Daniel Rodriguez in less than 3 minutes. A vicious head kick set up the fight-ending sequence. Gary improved to 12-0 with the win and made his first appearance in the UFC's official welterweight rankings at number 13. Number 1. Carlos Diego Ferreira vs. Michael Johnson. Ferreira turned Johnson stiff as a board early into the second round of their main card collision. In the final round, Ferreira landed a looping overhand right that caught Johnson square on the chin. The shot was scary. Johnson was visibly unconscious before he hit the mat and took some time to wake up. Well, fight fans, that's it for this video. Before you go, show your support by giving that like button a front kick and giving that bell icon a mean elbow. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.